Well, when there's so much conversation, so often the gray matter in between gets lost. Everything's black or white. Either I am a jealous old hater who needs to go cry my old man tears, or I'm exactly right and I can't believe Coach Prime would do this. The truth is somewhere in the middle there. While Travis, certainly as a Heisman Trophy winner, deserves his flowers and deserves to have his number retired, I'm sure every Heisman Trophy winner has their number retired. To forget the greatest era of college football at CU, which I was a part of when we won a national championship, that also feels like a slight. So two things can be true at once. These guys deserve their flowers, but guys in the past also deserve those. And maybe of all the sports, college football is the one that is most linked to the past. The past matters. Legacy matters. If Notre Dame is playing on national television, at somewhere in the pregame show, there's going to be footage of Newt Rockne and black and white footage of past Notre Dame great teams. If you're watching a USC football game, there's going to be Marcus Allen or Charles White or some other past Heisman Trophy winner. So to ignore the past and have these guys leapfrog so many other deserving candidates, I'm not saying they don't deserve it. I'm saying there's lots of other deserving people who probably should come first.
135-year history of the program, and there was only four others in. So to leapfrog everybody in a program that doesn't really do this often, that probably hits home as well.
It does. Now, if we were a program which handed these things out all the time, then I think myself and a lot of other former alumni would look at this through a very, very different lens. But considering how incredibly conservative we have been, and now to do it to two guys who are both on campus still, they have their graduating class hasn't even left campus yet. It feels a bit odd, a bit premature, and to not have some kind of waiting period. Even the greatest football player in all time, my former teammate Tom Brady, had to wait his 5 years to go into the NFL Hall of Fame. This is how these things work. So to not do any type of procedure, to not do any type of established norms with this, especially considering the conservative nature that the university has followed, it just strikes a lot of folks as very, very odd.
You're not the only former Buffalo who's spoken out. Is this the consensus though amongst your former teammates and other former legends who came out of the school?
I have not spoken to dozens and dozens of guys, but at least a dozen plus. And I would say most feel the same way that I do. Again, no one's saying that having these guys be honored is wrong or they're not deserving. That's not the point. But even for Shedeur, my former teammate Dion Figures, who I played with at Colorado and then played with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he also wore number two. And he was the Thorpe Award winner for the best defensive back in the country, was drafted in the first round to the Pittsburgh Steelers, is in the College Football Hall of Fame, is in the CU Athletic Hall of Fame, and he was a massive part of our team winning a national championship. In fact, he got the game-sealing interception in the Orange Bowl against Notre Dame for the national championship. So I'm not sure if there's a much better resume than that. So for another number two to get in before him, not saying that Shedeur is not deserving or worthy of that kind of conversation, but if I'm going to honor a number two, it would be Dion Figures first.
Coach Prime, I'm sure you saw, he more took it as a slight at his son, but talking to you here, it seems like it's both of them. It's just the timing that it's too quick for both of them to have this accomplishment so fast.
It's partially that, and then the Coach Prime sword swings both ways. Would your son be given this if he wasn't your son? So we can have that argument on both sides. Again, I'm not saying that Shedeur is not deserving of the accolades. Um, again, I just think there were other deserving players in line, and to leapfrog the process. And of course, Coach Prime wasn't here 20 years ago or 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. So I can see how it's not necessarily his thing, but certainly for someone who understands what legacy is and how legacy matters, to ignore the legacy of the past, this feels a bit odd to me.
Has Dion or anyone else from the program reached out to any of you guys?
I've got a call coming up here a little bit with a former Buff who has had some contacts with those in the program. So I'm interested to hear what he has to say. But I consider Rick George to be a personal friend. I've known Rick George, the athletic director at CU, since 1988 when I first showed up on campus. Have a relationship to this day. And Rick has done a tremendous job with the CU Athletic Hall of Fame, really invigorating that process, getting a lot of guys into that over the last couple of years. So for the moves that really want to highlight and honor the past, the CU Athletic Hall of Fame, versus this move, I'm trying to marry those two up in my mind from a Rick George athletic director, athletic department perspective.